Randy Wineglass. Welcome to Man Up Mental Health. Thank you for joining the channel. Today we're going to talk about how relationships are expensive, fellas. They're expensive. The true cost of love. Is your relationship draining your wallet? You know, people don't understand how much you got to invest in relationships, modern relationships. Did you know the average couple spends over $2,000 a year on dates alone? And that's not even counting gifts, trips, or emotional costs. Love might be free, but relationships, they come with a price tag you might not be budgeting for. All right, so we're going to get more into this. Open this door up. Come walk with me. Today, we're going to dive into a topic most people avoid: the real financial cost of a relationship. You know, from first dates to family vacations, we'll uncover why understanding the money side of love is key to keeping both your heart and your wallet balanced. A lot of people don't like talking about this. We're going to walk today, talk about why relationships are so expensive. You know, it costs you your time, your energy, sometimes your spirit. And relationships cost more than just time. You're investing in dating expenses. A 2023 report shows that the average date in the U.S. costs around $97. Gifts, so birthdays, holidays, anniversaries, Americans spend an average of $200 to $300 annually just on romantic gifts. Couples retreats, stress-related health expenses, all that stuff adds up. The biggest misconception, that love should be free. The truth is, real relationships demand emotional, physical, and financial investments, right? Some things to think about. Now let's break it down a little bit further, guys. Outings and celebrations, from Valentine's Day to wedding season. These moments often come with high expectations. Vacations and travel, a romantic getaway easily costs around $1,000 to $3,000. Social media often portrays couples to spend more to keep up with appearances, even when it's beyond their means. You see this all the time. Guys just cashing out, splurging, going broke. Here's the truth bomb. Yes, relationships can be expensive, but they also offer incredible emotional returns. The key is to balance your finances with your values. We talked about that. A healthy relationship isn't about how much you spend, it's about how deeply you connect. So everything shouldn't just be based on money. It should be based on how your values are aligned together. The chemistry. Relationships cost time, money, and energy. Love isn't free, but it shouldn't bankrupt you. Emotional fulfillment is priceless, but budgeting is powerful. Comment section, let me know, guys, how much you invest in your relationships. Have you had to break the bank? What do you think? How much have you spent on love? Drop your experiences in the comments and let's talk about it. If this helped you, hit that like, subscribe button. Check out our next video. We're doing the series, Man Up Mental Health. Relationships cost, man. I'm going to speak from personal experience. I got a story for you guys over here out here by the water. So I had a client I was working with, young man. He was going through a tough time. Let me switch hands real quick, make sure this mic working. I'm kind of paranoid about that, guys. I was talking and my mic wasn't working last time. Young man going through some difficulties, mental health issues, struggles, and, drug abuse. Got clean, fixed himself up, turned his life around. Anything is possible, fellas. I know sometimes it's hard for us as men to really get through life. Life is hard. I'm even learning just from making this YouTube channel. It's really hard, it's challenging, it's difficult, but I'm not going to give up. My subscriber count was kind of going down and, my views were going down. And I'm thinking like, man, what am I doing wrong? What more else do I need to do? But it's a journey. So back to the story. Young man got clean, cleaned himself up, ended up going to a rehab center, graduated the program, did a really great job. Came out the rehab center, guys, went home to his family. He's about to build himself back up, looking for work, looking for a job. He was unemployed for some time. My man went back to work, just got a job. Car was broke down, couldn't see his baby, he was kind of building himself back up. What's the first thing this guy was thinking about, guys? What was he thinking about, fellas? As soon as he got his first job, haven't even got his first paycheck. Relationships. He's already thinking about being in a relationship, talking to girls, going on dating apps. I'm like, brother, what makes me different as a therapist, guys, sometimes life isn't always in a textbook. I keep it real with you guys. I'm a black male. I came from real life experiences. I call it like it is. Yeah, the textbook has value, but sometimes when we're going through things as brothers and young men, it's only so much a psychology textbook can really get you. So I'm always be real. Expect that from me, regardless if this channel is successful or not. So I told him, I said, man, the last thing you need to be thinking about is a relationship right now. You're just getting on your feet. You barely even got a savings. You're living with your parents. You're trying to live independent. Your car doesn't work. You haven't been able to see your baby. And here you are thinking about another woman. Man, let me tell you guys, when you're thinking about women, you better be thinking about expenses. All right? I'm just going to keep it real with you. This may not get a lot of love from the women, and they might, kind of beat me up on this. I don't care. This is Man Up Mental Health. We got to empower our young men and stop, realigning and mixing up your priorities. You just got clean. You just got a job. You just got your money together. And here you are thinking about how to spend your money and waste your money away. You haven't even built up a savings for your child, for your kids, for yourself. So that way you can have your own place, have the security of having, even if it's $2,000-$3,000 in the bank. You rushing and thinking about a relationship. Yeah, we have needs. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with having needs and, wanting to, feel like you have a connection with someone. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're building yourself up, young man, and trying to, build a quality life, and you already know you ain't got much in the bank, that's a self-esteem killer. When your money's not right, your mind is not right, and your relationships are not right. And y'all go out in these relationships looking for somebody to love you and to build you up. These women are looking for a protector, a provider, someone that can meet them at least halfway, if not over half. Modern women today, expensive. Women, y'all got any arguments with that? Argue with me otherwise. Tell me why it's not expensive. It's expensive. And if you really want to be a provider and be a real man and provide a quality life for that woman, you're going to have to pay. Yeah, you can go take them to McDonald's and Burger King and White Castle and all of that. But, they want to eat steak. They want to eat some shrimp, some pasta, at cost. And if you're working on a budget, guys, and you barely can afford, a ham sandwich, a relationship needs to be the last thing you're thinking about. Now, there's nothing wrong with networking, meeting people, building up your social network, building up your skills, see if you can get that number, right, guys? I know how you think. But, have boundaries for yourself. Focus on your value system. That's why I always go back to your values. What's really more important? Your mental health, your well-being, you living a good quality life, or you rushing into a relationship, spending all your money away, and you don't even know if the relationship is going to last. This isn't like the 50s and 60s, guys, where you can, or even the 1800s, where you can throw your girl on a horse, and, that's a good day right there. Maybe going up and down the street to the, riding up on your horse and, going up and down the road, the country road. Them days are done, guys. These women are making more money than ever. They're more successful, more independent, and I love it. Just motivation for me. I grew up with independent women, so I'm not hating on that. But don't be that guy that's just rushing into a relationship and you're not thinking about the expenses, all right? That's off the script. So, Man Up Mental Health, Randy Wineglass, LMFT in California and Florida. Thank you for all my viewers and supporters. YouTube is hard, guys. I'm not, my views are going down. I'm gonna have to look into some editing and I'm watching. And thank you for all the YouTubers out there that's sharing advice and how to build your channel up. I'm a new YouTube channel. I'm thankful that I have 1,000 subscribers, but I'm kind of thinking the promotions hurt me, because I don't have people that's really sticking around, guys. So, this is a community for us as men. Let's stick together, man. Watch these videos. This is for you guys. My life is good. My wife is very successful. She's about to go to China probably next year. I'm gonna have a successful practice. It's growing every day, so I'm not hurting for YouTube money. It's not about monetization for me. I monetize myself before YouTube. This is about growing a community for men where we can have a space to break stigma and talk about things that we really don't talk about because it's such a divide, in the men community. So, Man Up Mental Health. Peace.